Hello and welcome to the King Cole YouTube channel and our series of how-to videos. Today we're going to look at cabling 2 stitches, both forward and back, and we're going to look at doing it both with and without a cable needle. These are generally called terms like C2F, C2B, or it can be a T2, which is a twist 2. And the twist 2 can be the left or right to match either whether it's a forward or a back cable. So what I've done to start with is just create this little bit of knitting, and I'm going to be cabling 2 stitches with a little bit of reverse stocking stitch in the middle. If for the purists, using a cable or not using a cable does make a fraction of a difference to the overall look. But what I would say is, based on this, pick whichever version you like best. If you'd rather have a needle, use a needle. And if you would rather not have the needle, don't use the needle. As long as you're consistent through the piece of work, it will look perfect. So let's get started. Initially, I'm just going to get us to a point where I've got two cables. So, the first one we're going to look at is the C2F, and that's cable to front. So, in order to do this, you need to knit, this is without the cable needle, you need to knit into the back of the stitch, the second stitch, there, like so, and then knit into the front of the first stitch. And when you slip them off and they're just on your right needle, you've changed the order of the stitches. So I'll just work that one a couple more times for you in slow motion. So this is the C2F, so you knit into the back, oops, I'm in the right place for knitting, knit into the back of the second stitch and into the front, all fingers and thumbs this morning, there we go, of the first stitch, and you've twisted them round. So I'm going to knit into the back. So obviously this is the version without the cable, and just do one more. You can get a little bit more speed up when doing this. One of the beauties of being able to do it without a cable needle, of course, is that you don't drop your cable needle. So if you're travelling, that's a really useful point. So you have swapped your stitches around there, you can see that they're twisted, and that's without the cable needle. So I'm now just going to work my way back across this row, just doing the normal knitting and purling as required. So generally you would purl the 2 stitches that you've just twisted, and then because I'm doing reverse stocking stitch in the middle, I've got 2 knit stitches at the back. So I'm just working along doing the knit 2, purl 2. Generally with cabling, you do work a lot of the cable section where you just purl the 2 stitches or however many stitches across the back. Can be slightly different, so do check your pattern, but it's just a general rule. So we're now going to do this with our cable needle. I'm going to be able to keep it in place, who knows? No, it's off. Never mind. Just pop it in there, then I don't lose it. So, to achieve exactly the same idea with your cable needle, so this is your C2F, you are taking 1 stitch off and you're bringing it to the front. Then you're going to knit the next stitch and knit the one off the cable needle. So there is a slight difference because you have, on this one, you've knit into the back of it. Doesn't seem to make a massive difference, and as I say, consistency is the main thing with this. Whatever style of cabling you choose to use, make sure you do the same thing all the time. So we take a stitch off and bring it to the front, knit the next stitch, then knit the stitch off the cable needle. So that's very sort of basic 2-stitch cabling. Sometimes as well, depending on the weight of yarn you're using, you might find you need a cable needle. Sometimes it's very, very slippy yarn, or not, and sometimes very fine yarn can cause you a problem. So last one, so slip it off, knit one off your left hand needle, knit the one off your right hand needle. Just pop that off to one side for now, and hopefully you will be able to see there we've got a second set of twists, and when we've worked another row, which I'm just going to do in a moment, then you'll be able to see that the twists are happening quite nicely. So either of those techniques can be used. Some patterns state one way and some another, but pick your favourite. Now, just so you can see that it can happen in the other direction too. Get to the end of here. I think this can put a lovely edging down the side of a cabled jumper. Having these little double twists, it's a rather nice little bit of extra texture. Right. Okay, so now we're going to do the C2B without the cable needle. So I'm going to knit into the second stitch and then knit into the first stitch and slip them off. Work that again. So you go into the second stitch there, just normally, wrap, bring it back through. Before you slip them off, you then go into the first stitch. So you've got both stitches well and truly knit and anchored in, and as you can see, hopefully it's starting to twist in the other direction. Again, this can be used to quite good effect. So knit into the second, knit into the first, slip them off, one last one, and then I'll show you the same thing with the cable. So knit into the second, knit into the first, and then we're at the end of the row. So again, hopefully you can see there that it's twisted, but it's twisted this time in the opposite direction. So in a moment we'll do that again using the cable needle. All these little techniques can seem a little bit daunting when you first do them, but give them a go. If you're worried about spoiling your yarn that you're actually using, then grab some spare needles and just a spare little bit of wool and have a practice. It's always a good idea to have a little practice if there's something you're unsure about, because sometimes unpicking your main work, not only can it be a bit frustrating, but it doesn't always make a mess of the yarn, but you can if you're using quite a delicate yarn. So we're going C2B, so that's take your first stitch off and put it this time at the back of the work. Then knit the next stitch on your left needle and then knit the one off your cable needle. Just do that again. So slip that first one off, hold it at the back of the work, knit the next stitch off your left needle, next stitch off your cable. Just slowly repeat that for you, and then hopefully slip that off, hold it on the back, knit your next stitch, oops, knit one off, slip that off, and at the back there. So you can see the bottom two are when we did the C2F there at the front, so that first stitch has ended up at the front, and then behind we've got the C2B, and it means that what was the first stitch has gone around the back and ended up here. So as you can see, you get the same effect, one going left, one going right. Hopefully you find that useful and that demystifies a little bit of something for you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.